All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go from Portland. Richie Joplin and Derek Schilling on the front row. Jeff Oakes, David Wingfield on the second. Vic Brown, Mark Dantuma have the third row. Rod Pontgeter and Robert Eggert on the fourth. Gerald Poole, Stephen Lindner rounding out the top 10. Kevin Bruner starts in 11th next to Pete Norquay in 12th. And Gil Guac rounds out the 13-car field. And good evening, Otto. It's been a while. How you been, buddy? Jake, I'm doing okay. The Unicorn's back's a little messed up, but hopefully she'll be able to get the full convoy in. If not, I might have to hop in her rig. Everybody is gritted up as they go out for their pace lap. Now keep an eye as they come through this chicane. Those bumps are a lot bigger than they look, and as we mentioned, we saw Anthony Alfredo. His practice lap here, he hit those bumps awfully hard, but man, if some of these guys try and hit it that hard, they are likely to go airborne. There are a couple of spots on the track as well that are going to get a little bit bumpy. Those rumble strips are a bit rough. Now they can cut a little bit on this right-hander from what I heard, and especially the next right-hander. From what I heard, though, hitting those rumble strips is a bit difficult, and it can hurt, especially that one right there. Don't forget, folks, if you missed any of this season's races, so far, you can find them on our YouTube channel, and all of this season is in 4K on YouTube. I have a suspicion that the groundskeepers might have a little bit less to mow after this, as here we come out of the final turn. Richie Joplin out front in control. And here we go. The green flag flies. They are away at Portland. And Richie's going to lead them down into the chicane. A lot of side-by-side and some brakes locking up. Everybody makes it through and out of the chicane unscathed. Jake, you can find a few videos of me flying a truck on the YouTube. Jeff Oakes has already made his way to second place. We have not seen him do his patented drifting here. We'll see as the night goes on if he gets it going and gets to drifting. Drivers are looking at between 14 and 16 laps on a tank. Most of them thinking this will be a single stop race. Everybody single file back behind this track is going to be tough to pass on. Also, Gil Guac did not take the grid as Richie Joplin leads lap one. taking that right-hand turn into the chicane a little bit harder that time. Wow. Carrying a lot of momentum through that. It is like 3 right-hand turns back to back. And you're definitely working the throttle all the way around. Derek Schilling had a problem. He is losing ground. But he powers out. Schilling holds on to 4th. Mark Dantuma, another accomplished road racer, currently in 6th. He'll be moving up. Pete Norquay was really fast in warm-up. He is back in 11th at the moment. Surprised he hasn't moved up even more. Richie did just set the fastest lap, 1:16.8. Jake, if anybody ever wants to hire me, I'd be happy to. We did do the monster truck event in Enid, Oklahoma several months ago, and we will be back next spring announcing the monster trucks and tough trucks in Enid. Hey, good evening, Ryan. You should be on track, buddy. Jeff Oaks still sits in 2nd. Vic Brown now in 3rd. Everybody just set their fastest lap so far. Looks like those tires are really starting to come in. However, I did hear some of the drivers say the rear tires can go away quickly. We're likely to see after 5 or 6 laps some back end sliding around. Back behind everybody single file. It is really tough to set up a pass. You almost got to make that pass into the chicane, which is a gutsy move. Rod Pocketer now up into 6th. Rod, another great road racer. Keep an eye on him. I don't think he is done marching forward yet. Gerald Poulos had a problem. We have had a couple incidents in the early laps. Let's take a look. There's Derek Schilling. Just come out of the chicane. Gets a little too deep. Just overshoots the turn. Keeps his foot in it. Loses 1 spot, but gets it back on track. And just a moment ago, same turn, different car. Gerald sends it in deep on the brakes, and the back end just stepping out. He does get it back on track. I expect he'll move forward again in a moment. Richie Joplin continues to lead, but Jeff Oaks is reeling him in. Oh, Jeff may have kissed the wall there. As Derek Schilling is losing some ground back behind, he went way off track. There's Derek into that sharp right-hander, just overshoots, but on the power it snaps out on him. He does get it recovered and back on track, but loses a lot of ground and a lot of momentum. Robert Eggert has come to pit road unexpectedly. This is very, very early. Richie Joplin's lead about 0.8 of a second over Jeff. Vic in third. David Wingfield in fourth. Rod Potgieter right on David's bumper. Not for long. Wingfield moves over. Lets Potgieter get by. Mark Dantema back in sixth, is closing, back up on the top five. Pete Norquay in seventh is also closing in. Gerald Poole gaining a little bit of ground, still trying to get his rhythm back after that off track. Kevin Bruner now to ninth, Derek Schilling in 10th. Stephen Lindner back in 11th, and Robert Eggert back to 12th after that early stop. It looks like it was a fuel-only stop for Robert. Jeff continuing to inch closer and closer. The top two are pulling away from Vic, now almost 8 seconds ahead of him. Meanwhile, Vic 6.3 seconds ahead of Rod. Have seen Vic Brown run road races in multiple cars. He knows how to get it done. No, you're fine, Jake. And Jeff Oakes has just caught Richie. About to see a battle for the lead, and Vic may get a chance to run him down. This racetrack is tight. Jeff is going to have to set up. The last few seasons, Jeff Oakes, Richie Joplin have been back and forth a lot on road courses. Well, they've been back and forth everywhere. Jeff tried to set up to the inside into the chicane. Wow, Jeff hit that chicane entry hard. Richie gets out a little bit better. Kevin Bruner has just made his way to 8th and is closing in quickly on Mark Dantuma. We mentioned it during pre-race. Kevin's road racing has improved dramatically. He does run F4 and GT3 on the weekend. Both races this weekend were here at Portland. He didn't think it would translate, but I think he learned something. He is marching forward. As Derek Schilling has had another problem. There's Schilling, and Gerald gets right into his bumper, sends him into the chicane the wrong way. See if we can get a look from the blimp. It looked like Gerald just missed his braking point, or was able to go a whole lot deeper into that turn. Fortunately, Derek recovers quickly and gets going again. Back up front, Richie Joplin has managed to put some space between him and Jeff once again. Pit stops are going to be interesting here tonight. As we mentioned, some of the drivers talking about how the rear tires just completely lose grip. Will we see fuel stops or tire stops or a bit of both tonight? Rod Pocketer now has Pete Norquist right there with him. Kevin Bruner is closing in. Jake, you're absolutely right. A lot of great racing going on tonight. As here we go, looks like Norquist tried to set up to the inside, couldn't get there. Kevin Bruner now in 7th, has gotten past Mark Dantuma. It is surprising to see Dantuma losing ground on a road course. Richie Joplin starting to pull away, almost 2 seconds over Oates. Vic Brown in 3rd, meanwhile, is starting to close in on Jeff. He is still about 7.8 seconds back. A lot of ground to make up. We mentioned it during pre-race, this track is a bit bumpy. Dialing up Vic Brown's in-car camera. You'll see the nose of the car bouncing around a lot. Gear shifts and braking, making it worse. Goes off, hits that first corner hard. Goes right to the edge, not hitting that left side. On the power, down into the right-hander, hard on the brake. And some drivers talk about just treating this as one long turn. It's actually 3 right-handers back to back. Use it through the left-hander, then start squeezing back onto the power. Cutting as close as you dare, getting over to the wall, down the backstretch. A little bit of a curve to this backstretch as he heads hard into the left-hander, and he overshoots it. Now he'll have to take a slowdown for missing the turn. Back on the power, back through the right-hander, and back to the start-finish line. And it does look like a couple of drivers have had problems in the last few moments. Let's take a quick look. Gerald Poole in a bit of a battle here. You can see that damage from his earlier incident. He just goes a hair too wide and loses some ground. Robert Eggert coming down that backstretch into that left-hander. And there you see he overshoots and goes through the grass. Then, of course, that incident we were on board with as Vic Brown comes down and the car just slides wide. It does look like the tire's starting to give up some grip. Hey, good evening, Angie Louise. Derek definitely had a rough start to this one. He has slipped back into 10th, but is trying to fight his way back forward. Wow, he got right to the bumper of Steven Lindner. Can he get the run out of the turn? Lindner gets the run to the inside of Dan Tuma. As they head down into the chicane. Schilling gets by as well as they set up into the chicane. Oh, Lindner's around right in front of him. Derek slips by, Mark and Gerald both slip by. Things can change in a heartbeat here. Take another look at this incident. There is Steven Lindner on his way in. Looks like he may have clipped the wall. Derek had nowhere to go. Dan Tuma on the brakes. Gerald has to shortcut it to get by. And the leaders are all in early. Will we see tire changes? Yes, they are changing tires. And looks like half the field is in. Richie Joplin, Jeff Oakes, a close battle on pit road. Kevin Bruner to the lead. Bruner trying to come by and score some bonus points if he can lead the next lap. About 2/3 of this field have been to pit road. We mentioned earlier how much Bruner has improved his road course racing. It's showing right now. As Jeff Oakes has a run, he has gotten past Richie. Out of the final turn, will Bruner make it to the start pit? No, Bruner's coming in. Jeff Oakes is going to take the lead. And Richie Joplin is back on pit road. I bet he got a speeding penalty on the way out. Gerald Poole also on his way in. Richie Joplin has stopped in his pit stall. It looks like he took on right side tires. And it looks like he may have gotten another penalty. Otto, you may be right. It may have been too many right-hand turns for Richie Joplin. Richie has had a lot of problems with pit road speed limits here lately. And Richie just went a lap down. Richie has lost a couple of races here lately that he was dominant at due to incidents and mistakes on pit road. That is heartbreaking. Derek Schilling and Mark Dantuma both on pit road for their stops. And they have stretched it far enough. Wait a minute. Derek Schilling did a fuel-only stop. Jeff Oaks lead now 15.25 seconds over Vic Brown. Pete Norquay in third, but Pete has Rod Potgieter right behind, and Robert Eggert closing in. Derek Schilling now up into sixth. Kevin Bruner in seventh, Gerald Poole in eighth, Stephen Lindner in ninth, Mark Dantuma in 10th, Richie Joplin back in 11th. And David Wingfield out early as Jeff Oaks just set the fastest lap of the night. And Robert Eggert is coming back to pit road. Robert did take fuel only on his stop. In fact, Oaks' lap, just looking at it, is the fastest lap we have seen tonight, 1:16.64. Robert Eggert getting 4 tires and fuel. I'm wondering if he played a little strategy since they couldn't make it to halfway. He came in, just took a splash of fuel, took off, knowing he'd have to come back in, took tires on that second stop. There's definitely some interesting strategies playing out. The current top 4, all pitted on lap 14, may need another pit stop. 5th place, Kevin Bruner, Derek Schilling, Gerald Poole, Mark Dantuma, Robert Eggert, and Richie Joplin. They will not need another fuel stop. If Jeff Oaks can't conserve a couple laps worth of fuel, the last part of this race, the last 5 laps, could get very, very interesting. And it does not appear Jeff is conserving anything. He continues to pull away. Riding on board with Jeff Oaks. And no, it certainly does not seem that Jeff Oaks is conserving a bit of fuel. Nope, down into the chicane. He is not conserving anything. He may be trying to open up a big enough gap he can run in for a splash and get back out quickly. Pete Norquay now up into 3rd, Rod Potgieter in 4th. They're less than a second apart at the moment. Kevin Bruner in 5th as Derek Schilling in 6th, closing that gap. Mark Dantuma back in 8th, is closing in on 7th place. Gerald Poole does appear on this second set of tires. Dantuma seems to have found some speed. Robert Eggert back in 10th is closing quickly on Steven Lindner. Eggert does have fresh tires. Steven Lindner does not. And the strategy's playing out here tonight. They are definitely surprising. 10 laps to go at Portland. Potgieter currently 2 seconds behind Norquay. It appears he has lost a little bit of ground. Derek Schilling is rapidly reeling in Kevin Bruner. That is extremely impressive. Derek did not take tires on his stop. Kevin Bruner did take 4 fresh Goodyears. Schilling making those. Oh! Derek goes off in the same turn again. Drifts it through the grass, gets it recovered and going. Richie Joplin is right on Jeff Oaks' bumper, trying to get himself back on the lead lap. Kevin Bruner is about 19 seconds behind Potgieter in 4th. At the moment, though, Bruner about 2 seconds a lap faster, as there has been a problem with Jeff Oaks and Richie Joplin. Derek Schilling may also have been involved. There's Richie trying to get back past Jeff. He gets a better run out of the turn, gets into Jeff's bumper. And talk about great sportsmanship. Richie knew it was his mistake, stopped and let Jeff get going again. One of the great things about home motorsports is the sportsmanship. These guys are all friends first and drivers second. That's the attitude they look for in their new drivers, and it shows in moments like that. Derek Schilling also had a problem a moment ago. This is shortly. Oh man, he was full send through there. In the grass, on the pavement, in the grass, on the pavement. Finally gets it recovered back down the front stretch. However, that mistake has allowed Gerald Poole to get to his bumper with Mark Dantuma not far behind. Apparently Richie has gotten back past Jeff Oaks, getting himself back on the lead lap. I don't believe that little bit of damage to the back bumper on Jeff Oaks' car is going to cause any major problems here. The question now is the fuel question. Can he make it to the end? Remember, this top four, we don't know if they have enough fuel. Kevin Bruner in fifth, we know is the first car we know has enough fuel after pitting on lap 15. Everybody behind him except for Steven Lindner, we know is good on fuel. Lindner is questionable. He stopped on lap 14. Definitely going to be close for a lot of these drivers. Derek Schilling for the moment, holding off Gerald Poole and Mark Dantuma. Kevin Bruner just over 5 seconds ahead. Schilling is closing the gap. It is interesting seeing three very, very good road racers. Derek Schilling, Gerald Poole, and Mark Dantuma currently 6th, 7th, and 8th. All three of these guys know how to win on a road course. But like I mentioned earlier on, this is the first time a lot of these guys have seen this new Portland track. Five laps to go for Jeff Oaks. And folks, don't forget, just a few minutes after the race is over, the Unicorn is back tonight. She is recovering from her back. It's not 100%, but come by, say hi, help her keep smiling. And it does appear Jeff Oaks may be conserving. Vic Brown in second. Now just 5 seconds behind, and he is gaining ground. Hey, good evening, Russell. That battle from 6th on back, still going at it. Derek Schilling still holds on to 6th, Gerald in 7th, Mark in 8th. And Robert Eggert back in 9th. He is gaining ground as well. He's only about 3.5 seconds behind that group. Richie Joplin just moved back into 10th. Four laps to go. Does Oaks have enough fuel? He has started putting the power down again. Vic Brown now 5.7 seconds behind. And Jeff Oaks has started to pull away again. Derek now just 4 seconds behind Bruner. He also put a little distance between him and Gerald and Mark Dantuma. Robert Eggert, though, closing in on everybody. Robert currently the fastest car on track, except for the leader, Jeff Oaks. Gerald Poole had a problem a moment ago. Dan Tuma on the move out of the final turn. He's got to run to the inside. Couldn't make it. And that's going to bring Robert Eggert even closer. Meanwhile, Derek Schilling has a bit of a gap behind him now and sets his sights on Bruner, 3.5 seconds ahead. And Jeff Oakes will come down to get 2 laps to go. Vic Brown, 5.25 seconds back. Pete Norquay quietly sitting in third. He is 7 seconds back from Vic. Rod Potgieter currently in fourth. Kevin Bruner in fifth. Good evening, Kyle. Jeff Oakes down the backstretch, and that time he opens up a big gap. A gap now 7.5 seconds. Norquay closing in 6 seconds behind. Derek Schilling, 4.25 seconds back. He lost a little ground as Jeff Oakes gets the white flag one more time around. And Pete Norquay is on pit road. He didn't have enough fuel. Rod Potgieter staying out. Kevin, the rest of the field, it appears they can make it. Oh, Jeff showing off his drift skills again. Rod Potgieter now moves into third. Norquay makes it out at fourth, but has Bruner on his bumper. Jeff Oakes has got it locked up as long as he keeps it pointed the right way. And here he comes out of the final turn, a little drift. He will get it done again. Jeff Oakes gets the win at Portland. Vic Brown coming home in second. Rod Potgieter looks like he will bring it home in third. Pete Norquay holds on for fourth. Kevin Bruner made a heck of a run tonight, and wait a minute. Can Bruner get the better run out? No, look at this. Norquay is back to pit road. Kevin Bruner goes to fourth. All right, let's talk to our top three. We do not have Rod available at the moment. We'll start with second place, Vic Brown. Vic, man, I've seen you run road courses. I know how fast you are. I really thought you were going to come up and give Jeff a run for his money there at the end.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking the same thing. Up until I looked at my fuel, and my crew chief was in my ear telling me how much fuel I had left, and I looked and I said, this is not good. I need to back it down, which I really didn't have much more speed than what middle of the race was showing. So great job to Jeff. That was fun.
Well, man, it was a heck of a run tonight. It's always fun to watch you on a road course, and a heck of a run tonight, buddy. Congratulations.
Thanks, Doug. I appreciate it.
And looks like it's time to talk to our winner, Jeff Oakes. Jeff, not terribly surprised to see in victory lane. A few close calls out there, though.
Yeah, that's probably because I just got to track about 10 minutes before the session opened up.
I don't think you were the only one, to be honest. I think there are several guys that were in that situation. So, especially for no practice, that's impressive.
Yeah, I was texting my buddy Daryl, and shout out to him. This win's dedicated to him. He's been going through some health issues and heard some good news today, and everything's so good for him. And I texted him before this, and I'm like, shit. I'm like, I guess we're out to find out what Portland's like, and it turned out well. So it was fun. This track's fun. It's actually pretty manageable. I was shocked how quick I learned it. A couple close calls there with Richie, but that was a lot of fun. And I was really just kind of eyeing him up that first run there, trying to keep him in check to see where I could maybe make a move on the second run. And I knew coming out of the pits that it was like, I knew I was at 41 mile an hour and coming back down to 40, so I didn't knew he was close. So it sucks to see that happen, but that was a lot of fun.
Man, you and Richie always put on a heck of a show battling on road courses, but great job back in victory lane. Even got to see you drift a little on the last lap.
Yeah, I had to throw that in there a little bit. I tried to manage my tires the whole race. And I'm like, well, I've managed enough now. Let's try to get a little sideways without getting too out of control.
Well, man, great job. Great win. Congratulations.
Thanks, Doug. Appreciate what you do. Shout out to Daryl and my wife and everybody in this league. And Richie, that was a hell of a lot of fun, buddy.
Kevin Bruner joins us, and Kevin, you came home in fourth. A little bit of a last lap incident there gave you fourth place, but man, I have to say you were charging all night.
Yeah, I got lucky. I got into a rhythm and just kept logging laps, right?
Well, it definitely worked out in your favor, man. It was a heck of a run. I think you're the biggest mover of the race as well.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to Pete there on the last lap. I know he pitted. I don't know if he got a speeding penalty or he went back into the pits or pulled over. I don't know what happened there.
It was definitely a interesting final couple of laps, but a heck of a race for the first time bringing the stock cars to Portland.
Yeah, the guys, handled it pretty good. I thought. I didn't see a whole lot of off tracks. I heard about a couple, but I didn't see any. I didn't see any bad spins.
Well, man, it was definitely an awesome race tonight, and a great job by you as well. Congratulations.
Thanks, Doug.
Folks, don't forget, come back here in just a few moments. The Unicorn will be leading the convoy. She'll see you in a few moments. Have a great night, y'all.